All right, diving into Stoicism today. Always been fascinated by this stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And we've got some intriguing excerpts from El Pequeño Libro de la Filosofía Estoica to guide us. Should be interesting to see where this takes us.
Looking forward to it.
You know, it's funny. When I hear Stoic, I kind of picture like someone who's really good at hiding their emotions, like totally straight-faced no matter what.
Right, right.
But I have a feeling it's a lot more nuanced than that.
Oh, absolutely. That's a super common misconception. Stoicism isn't about being emotionless. It's more about, like, using reason and virtue to navigate all those ups and downs that life throws at us. Inevitable ups and downs.
So not suppressing emotions, but maybe like approaching them differently.
Exactly. Think about it. Our modern world, it's like we're constantly bombarded with information, uncertainty, a million things we can't control. And Stoicism comes in and says, hey, focus on what you can control. Your reactions, your judgments, your choices. That's where the real power lies.
Okay, I can see where this might be helpful already.
Right.
So how do we actually do that? What does that look like in practice?
Well, the book lays out these three interconnected disciplines: desire, action, and assent. Think of them as pillars of Stoic thought.
Okay, a framework for a good life, almost. Let's start with desire. What did the Stoics have to say about that?
So they believed it's crucial to understand what we want, but more importantly, why we want it. It's all about self-awareness, right? Getting to the root of our motivations.
And then the ones that maybe don't make sense.
Especially those.
Yeah.
The ones that seem totally irrational.
Right, because if you don't understand your own desires, how can you make good decisions, right?
Precisely. And then you've got action. This one's about making choices that align with virtue. Doing the right thing even when it's hard.
Living with integrity, walking the walk, even when no one's looking.
You got it. And that brings us to our third discipline. Assent. This one's all about mastering our reactions to the world around us.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting to me. Like, we're talking about taking control of our inner dialogue, right? How we frame things in our own minds.
Absolutely. It's about choosing how we interpret events, rather than letting our emotions totally run the show. And this actually connects to a really fascinating Stoic concept, memento mori.
Memento mori, remembering that we're mortal. Not to be morbid or anything.
No, not at all.
But like what?
It's about recognizing the preciousness of time and using that awareness to clarify what really matters. Imagine how this ancient concept could cut through all the noise of modern life. What would become truly important if you saw each day as a gift?
Suddenly that looming deadline doesn't seem so bad.
Right.
Okay, I'm starting to see the appeal here.
It's about aligning your actions with what truly matters. That's what it all comes down to. Focusing on what you can control amidst all the chaos.
And it makes me think about all those Stoic thinkers, too. The book mentions this all-star lineup. It's amazing how these figures came from such diverse backgrounds.
Totally.
We're talking emperors, slaves, everyone in between. And yet they all found common ground in Stoicism.
Yeah, and what's really remarkable is that their teachings are still so relevant today. These weren't just philosophers. They lived Stoicism. They faced real-world challenges just like us.
All right, so let's meet these Stoic superstars. Who we're starting with?
Let's start with the founder himself, Zeno of Citium. What's really interesting about Zeno is that he was actually a successful merchant before he got into philosophy.
Oh, wow. Talk about a career change from selling textiles to like shaping Western thought. What do you think it was that clicked for him, I mean?
Well, his ideas were really down to earth, and they resonated with people from all walks of life. It was all about virtue, living in accordance with nature, simple but profound concepts that really cut through the noise.
It's crazy how some things never change, even after, what, centuries? Okay, who's next in our lineup?
We've got Cleanthes, Zeno's successor. This guy was seriously dedicated to his studies, worked as a water carrier at night just so he could attend philosophy lectures during the day.
Wow. Talk about commitment.
Okay.
That's some serious dedication to learning.
It really highlights that Stoic belief in perseverance, right?
Yeah.
Like no matter what your circumstances are, knowledge and personal growth are always possible.
Definitely food for thought.
All right.
All right, who else is on our Stoic roster?
Next up is Chrysippus. Now, he's considered a master of logic. This is the guy who really dove deep into how our minds work, how we reason, how we make sense of the world. If you're interested in the mechanisms of thought, Chrysippus is your guy.
So like tackling the big questions,
Yeah.
truth, logic, how we know what we know.
Exactly. And his work is incredibly relevant even today, especially in our age of, information overload and everything. Critical thinking, rigorous analysis, those are crucial skills, and Chrysippus provides a framework for actually developing them.
Fascinating how these ancient ideas still resonate so strongly. Okay, who else is in our Stoic starting lineup?
Let's move on to Seneca. Now, Seneca was a wealthy politician, and he really grappled with the challenges of trying to live philosophically in a world of power and wealth.
It's that age-old question, right? Can you have it all? And what does it even mean to live philosophically when you're surrounded by luxury?
Well, Seneca's life and writings are full of insights on exactly that. He really wrestled with the temptations, the pitfalls of material success, offered some valuable lessons for anyone trying to live with purpose and integrity, no matter what their social status is.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that these challenges aren't new. People have been grappling with them for centuries. Who else do we have?
Next, we have Epictetus. Now, Epictetus was actually born a slave, but he became this renowned Stoic teacher. His teachings on freedom and resilience are incredibly powerful, especially given his life story.
It's incredible, right, to overcome those circumstances and find that level of inner strength. What were some of his, key teachings?
Epictetus really emphasized focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, rather than those external factors that are totally beyond our influence. He taught that true freedom comes from within, from mastering your own mind.
Such a powerful message, especially in today's world. I feel like it's so easy to get caught up in everything happening around us, and feel overwhelmed by events that are totally outside our control.
Absolutely. And finally, we have Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor.
Right, right.
Imagine, bearing the weight of an entire empire on your shoulders and still finding the time for introspection, for philosophical reflection.
Talk about a role model for work-life balance. His meditations are really a fascinating glimpse into his mind, aren't they?
They are. Marcus Aurelius truly lives by these principles, even amidst all the immense pressures of ruling an empire. And his writings remind us that inner peace, moral integrity, these are achievable goals no matter how demanding life gets.
It's inspiring, honestly. Okay, so we've covered the who's who of Stoicism. Now let's dive into the how-to. What are some practical Stoic tools we can actually use to navigate our own lives?
Well, one of the most powerful tools is the dichotomy of control.
Right, right. I've heard of that one. It's about focusing on what you can control, yeah. But how does it actually work?
So it's all about recognizing the difference between what we can influence and what we can't.
Okay.
So often, we waste so much energy worrying about things that are totally outside of our control. The weather, other people's opinions, the stock market,
Oh, yeah.
all that stuff. And Stoicism says, hey, let's shift that focus. What aspects of this situation can you actually influence? Your own actions, your thoughts, your responses.
It's kind of like that serenity prayer thing, right?
Yeah.
Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change and all that.
Exactly. It's about choosing your battles wisely. And speaking of battles, another super useful tool is negative visualization.
Okay, now this one sounds kind of counterintuitive. Why would I want to visualize negative things?
It's not about being pessimistic or anything like that,
Okay.
but rather it's about mentally preparing for challenges. So let's say you're stressed about a big presentation, right?
Mm.
Instead of just avoiding the thought, spend a few moments actually imagining some potential obstacles. Tough questions from the audience, maybe technical difficulties, even complete and utter failure.
Oh, wow.
And by confronting these possibilities head on,
Yeah.
you can actually prepare for them, develop backup plans and manage your anxiety.
So it's less about dwelling on the negative and more about turning that anxiety into action.
Precisely. It's about building up that mental resilience. And remember, Stoicism isn't about just being passive.
Right.
It's about making active choices,
Yeah.
aligning your actions with virtue, and finding that inner peace amidst all the inevitable chaos of life.
It strikes me that so many of these Stoic principles are really about perspective,
Yeah.
about how we're choosing to see the world, our place in it, all of that.
That is a great observation. Stoicism really encourages us to view those challenges as opportunities for growth, to find meaning and purpose even in those difficult circumstances.
Yeah. It's empowering in a way. It's
Okay.
it puts you back in the driver's seat of your own life.
Exactly. And, it's not just about individual well-being. The book also touches on the broader implications of Stoicism. If we're all working towards inner peace, towards virtue,
Yeah.
couldn't that create a ripple effect,
Hmm.
leading to, a more just and compassionate world?
So it's about finding that balance, right? Taking care of our own mental and emotional well-being while also, recognizing our responsibility to make the world a better place.
Precisely. And it's a question that continues to resonate today,
For sure.
perhaps even more so given all the complex challenges we're facing as a global society.
It's a lot to think about. But in a good way,
Yeah.
I feel like I've just like scratched the surface of Stoicism, honestly.
Well, that's the beauty of it, isn't it? It's a philosophy that offers a lifetime of exploration and discovery.
Well, this deep dive has definitely given me a lot to ponder. Thanks for joining me on this journey into Stoicism. It's amazing how relevant these ancient ideas still are today.
It's been my pleasure. Stoicism really does offer this timeless wisdom for navigating all the complexities of life. So if you're looking for tools to cultivate that inner peace, resilience, a life of purpose, I really encourage you to keep exploring. You might just be surprised by what you discover.
And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has given you some food for thought as well. Remember, that journey of self-discovery, of philosophical exploration, it's ongoing. Keep questioning, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the world of ideas. Until next time.